The night is quiet, but the drama, oh darling, it's never been louder. You may have forgotten all about your favorite nighttime soaps, but Miss Kane, she never did. She's been watching all the affairs, the betrayals, and the big hair, and now she's here to tell you everything you missed, or perhaps just forgot. This is Drama After Dark. Slip into something comfortable, and let's catch you up.
Don't just watch the scandal, darling. Subscribe and join the drama every Friday.
We open in JR's office. Oh, honey, Jock's there, Bobby's there, and a few of those good old boys who think they run Texas are just parked around that desk, darling. Jock kicks it off with, "Boys, we have a problem." And that problem, bless his heart, is Cliff Barnes. They're hunting for someone squeaky clean to run against him. First suggestion? Bo Kinney, but JR shuts that down fast. Says the man's got an alimony scandal that made the papers, and JR can't risk anyone dirtier than him on the ballot. Can you imagine? Then Wade throws out Martin Cole. Oh, a churchgoer, a family man, married to a senator's niece, 2 kids, no skeletons. Bobby calls him dull but honest. JR loves that. Dull means controllable, you see. Jock makes it official. Cole's the guy. Bobby's handling the campaign funds, just like he did before. Wade wonders if Pam will be okay with that, since Cliff's her brother, but Bobby shrugs it off, says it won't be a problem. And Jock, well, he drives the point home, doesn't he? Bobby's a Ewing first and last. That's the family motto right there, darling. Loyalty before logic. Money before marriage. Cliff's meeting with Mr. Livingston, one of those polished types who talks like a friend, but smells like a favor, darling. He starts by praising Cliff's big stand against corruption in the oil business. That committee work, well, it put Cliff's name on the map. For a moment, it sounds like the recognition he's been chasing. But then Livingston slides in the real message. His people want to make a generous contribution. Cliff doesn't even have to open the envelope to know it's dirty money. He stops him cold, reminding him he's not fighting the little oil crooks just to join the big ones. When Livingston swears there are no strings attached, Cliff says it plain. There are always strings. And he means it. Peter's there too, watching with that mix of respect and disbelief, because Cliff just turned down the kind of check that could buy a whole campaign. But Cliff's not selling out. Not yet, anyway. Then Pam walks in, full of light and purpose. She's thrilled to see him, and even happier to be helping with his campaign. This isn't some charity gesture. She's all in, sleeves rolled up, ready to work. Cliff softens immediately. The scheming energy in the room fades for a second. They make plans for lunch. Peter excuses himself, and it's just the two of them, brother and sister, united for once. It's rare, and it's real. But then Dallas. Even good intentions come with a countdown. "Oh, honey," Cliff, bless his heart, he's fishing for intel, ain't he? Asks Pam if she knows who those Ewings are backing in the election. And she, sweet thing, says no, they're still deciding. But she'd tell him, you know, unless Bobby asked her not to. Cliff, he just knows whoever they choose, they'll come in heavy with money, and that, darling, is why he needs her help. He admits he needs funds, but he swears it won't come out of her account. The Texas club manager, he offered his whole for a benefit. And Cliff, he wants to host a fashion show, just like that hospital associations that brought in a whole 50 grand last year. He tells her, that's where she comes in. He wants her to run it. She hesitates. She's busy, and being tied to her brother's campaign, why, it already has those Ewings whispering. Cliff, he reminds her, you can't stay low profile in politics, especially as the candidate's sister. He needs her, he says. Without TV money, he doesn't stand a chance, poor dear. She finally gives in, knowing she's walking straight into trouble. She warns there'll be hell to pay. Cliff, he just smiles, confident as ever. And Pam, she knows he counted on that. Well, Bobby and JR, they come home, chattering about campaign money and all those power plays, don't they? Bobby says, "Oh, Sam Toohey doesn't like Cole, but he'll still contribute." And JR, he's just delighted. 'Cause darling, results matter more than reputations, don't they? Then they waltz into the living room, and there's Pam, at a desk, surrounded by sketches. Bobby, bless his heart, greets her ever so warmly, then spots those drawings. He asks if she's brought work home, and she says, "Oh, no, it's not for the office." Before she can even say another word, Sue Ellen, Jock, and Miss Ellie, they just drift on in. Miss Ellie, she asks what Pam's working on, and Pam, sweet thing, tells them she's organizing a fundraising fashion show for Cliff's campaign. And just like that, the air, it just freezes. Sue Ellen, she calls it a novel idea, all amused but with a sharp edge, you know. Jock, he reminds them Pam was only supposed to be stuffing envelopes, and JR, oh, he twists it even further, wondering aloud which family Bobby belongs to. Miss Ellie, she shuts him down, but that sting, it lands anyway. Lucy, she tries to cut the tension, saying it must be dinner time. Pam, she gathers her things and quietly leaves. Miss Ellie offers drinks, but Sue Ellen, she steps in, says she'll make her own. She heads for the bar, cool and deliberate, because in that house, sometimes, a refill says more than words, darling. Bobby follows Pam upstairs, calm voice but tense shoulders. He says, and I quote, "We need to talk." Pam is steady. She simply has to help Cliff. He's her brother, and, darling, there's no one else. Bobby says stuffing envelopes was one thing. Running the show, well, that's quite another. Pam says Cliff doesn't have a machine like the Ewing candidate, does he? Bobby agrees. That's the problem, isn't it? There is a Ewing candidate, and she's a Ewing now. Pam doesn't blink. She's helping her brother. Bobby pushes the family stakes. Pam fires back that the Ewings are using this race to get at Cliff. Bobby calls that simplistic, and reminds her Cliff hasn't exactly been gentle with his family, has he? Pam says if standing against exploitation and corruption makes her a radical, she accepts it. Bobby counters that his daddy built the empire with brains, work, and luck, and anyone could do the same. Pam says it's easy to talk merit when you're born rich. Cliff is fighting for the folks who aren't. Bobby says Cliff can play dirty too. They pause. Pam says they see it differently. Bobby looks at her and admits the real damage isn't the election. It's that both of them were born on opposite sides from the start. Well, at the debate, Martin Cole, bless his heart, he's giving a sermon disguised as a campaign speech, isn't he, darling? Quoting scripture, preaching about taxes, and sounding like JR wrote his notes. And then there's Sue Ellen, perfectly composed, just thanking both candidates and opening the floor for questions. Oh, then Cliff, he moves in, teasing that he didn't know she cared about politics. She just smiles, says she's not into politics. But certain politicians, well, they do interest her. And when she admits she volunteered to host once she heard he'd be there, he's surprised. She shoots back that Martin Cole doesn't appeal to her, politically or otherwise. Then Peter Larson, he interrupts, joking that chat's more interesting than the debate, and you know what? He's not wrong. The tension between them, it's just visible, so warm, and ever so risky. Sue Ellen, she ends it with such grace, saying it'll be a close race. Cliff just grins, says it won't be. No, he plans to win. She excuses herself quickly, leaving Cliff watching her go. And Peter, he just quips that maybe it's not just JR Cliff's after. And Cliff's smile, well, it says he's just realizing it too, darling. Now, honey, this is where those Ewings really start to stink up the room, you hear me? With that Ewing oil, and JR and Jock, oh, they're just tag-teaming poor Martin Cole like he's some failing sales rep, instead of their hand-picked golden boy. JR's pacing, darling, saying Barnes is gaining ground every single day. They're pouring in money and getting absolutely nothing back. Cole, bless his heart, tries to play it cool, says the polls just take time. But Jock, oh, he cuts him right off, says they don't have time. Next thing you know, Jock's just ripping into his whole presentation, tells him to get a speechwriter with guts and, honey, to stop dressing like an undertaker. He then orders JR to take Cole shopping and put him on TV till folks are just sick of his face. Cole, bless his heart, mentions Cliff's campaign is being run by some Madison Avenue guy, Peter Larson, and that, well, that gets JR's attention. But when Jock asks if they can steal him, JR says no. And that's when the tone shifts, my dear. Jock says if Cole can't win, They'll just make sure Barnes loses big. Find dirt, plant dirt, whatever it takes. And JR, with that little smirk, says if he can't find something on Barnes, he'll put it there. Baby, that's not politics, that's Ewing warfare. Dinner at South Fork? Starts quiet, but that tension just hums under the silverware, doesn't it? Sue Ellen, bless her heart, notices Pam hasn't eaten, and oh, she points it out, all polite venom. Tam, she just smiles, says she's not hungry, but her eyes, oh, they give her away. She's just tired of defending her brother in a house full of Ewings. Then JR, he cuts in, pretending concern, tells her not to overwork herself. Wouldn't want her brother to lose his chief fundraiser, now would we? Miss Ellie tries to steer the talk back to Martin Cole's campaign, but JR, honey, he just can't help himself. He wonders how a man crying broke can afford a Madison Avenue expert. Pan, she jumps to Cliff's defense, says Peter Larson's an old college friend helping for free. That's when JR leans back, smirking, twisting it into something ugly, hinting their friendship's too close. Pam, she just blurts out that Cliff was engaged once and the woman died. The table goes silent. Miss Ellie, she ends it. Jock heads for the TV, and JR, he just leaves, grinning. Tam just sits there, realizing one dinner conversation turned into JR's next headline. Oh, the drama.
The drama sparkles best when you're part of it. Subscribe and stay close, like a whispered secret. Leave a comment, tell us what has you gasping, because every scandal deserves an audience.
Well, JR, bless his heart, doesn't even let the dishes cool before he's making calls, does he? He's in his office, for I saw low, all business. He tells Dan Marsh, a private investigator, darling, to catch the next flight to New York. And wouldn't you know it, Jock walks in just as he hangs up. JR says, if that Cliff Barnes has anything buried, Marsh will find it. Jock just nods, pleased as punch. They don't need proof Cliff's guilty. No, just something they can use. Now, out on the South Fork porch, it's a different kind of chill altogether. Bobby's sitting right beside Pam, trying to bridge that silence between them. He says they need to talk. She says there's nothing left to say. They're standing on opposite sides now. Can you believe it? Bobby, bless his heart, gently asks how the woman died. Pam won't even look at him, says she doesn't remember. He studies her face, tells her she's never been good at lying. Her ears give her away every single time. Pam finally says she just can't tell him. Bobby sighs, says that says plenty about their marriage, doesn't it? She reaches for his hand, voice low, asking for a little time. He nods, but it's clear, isn't it? Time's exactly what they're running out of. At Ewing Oil, JR's cool and collected, but you can just hear the satisfaction in his voice, can't you? Dan Marsh's call from New York delivers the dirt he's been chasing. JR says it's perfect. Barnes broke the oldest rule in politics: never get caught with a live man or a dead woman. He tells his secretary to alert Jock and push the story out fast. At the Texas Club, Pan's setting up for the fashion show, focused on every little detail, trying to make it flawless. Cliff's in such good spirits, so proud of her, bless his heart, with no idea his campaign's about to implode. Then the press storms in, cameras flashing, voices shouting. They report Cliff's connection to the abortion death of his former fiancé. Peter Larson cuts them off with no comment, trying to control the absolute chaos. Pan freezes. She knows exactly where it came from. Her little dinner table slip gave JR the lead. She rushes to Cliff, trying to tell him, but he just pushes past her, saying he has to fix it. Pam's left standing there, poor thing, realizing she just handed JR the very weapon that destroyed her brother. At campaign headquarters, Cliff faces his staff head-on, trying to steady the ship. He tells them he wants them to hear the truth from him. Yes, the story is true. Years ago, he lived with Penny Ames. She became pregnant, wanted an abortion, and he borrowed money to help her. It went wrong, and she died. Cliff explains abortions were illegal then. They couldn't go to a hospital. He kept it secret to protect Penny's religious family, not himself. When asked how this will affect the campaign, he admits he doesn't know. Says Cole's right, Technically, it was illegal, but insists he acted out of love, not corruption. The staff is quiet, phones ringing non-stop. Cliff tells them to tell the truth. Exactly what he told them. He wanted to do right by Penny, and it went wrong. After everyone leaves, Cliff and Peter talk privately. Cliff says only a few people knew: Peter, Penny's family, and Pam. He quickly adds he doesn't suspect either of them. Peter guesses the doctor must have sold the story. Cliff shakes his head. The man's on parole. He wouldn't risk it. Peter tells Cliff to go home. He'll handle the phones. It's the first time Cliff looks less like a politician and more like a man gutted by a past that just caught up to him. Sue Ellen's sitting out front in her car. Engine humming. Nerves louder than the motor, darling. She's been there a while, staring at the building, knowing she shouldn't be, but unable to drive away. When Cliff finally walks out, she taps the horn once. He spots her, looks surprised, and walks over to the driver's side. She rolls the window down and says softly, she probably shouldn't have come. It was an impulse, after hearing the news on the radio. Cliff says he's surprised she didn't hear it straight from JR. She lets out a small laugh, tired and bitter, says she doesn't hear much from JR these days, not first or second hand. Cliff nods, says JR's probably too busy digging up more dirt, still wondering how he found out. Then he looks at her and says, almost gently, you know, don't you? Sue Ellen doesn't deny it. She just says she'd hate to be around when he finds out, and that she's sorry. Cliff studies her face for a second, nods, and says he believes her, then quietly adds that he's sorry too. He walks off, and Sue Ellen just sits there, hands tight on the wheel, knowing she's already too deep in something she can't undo. Pam, honey, she doesn't knock, she doesn't pause. No, she storms straight into JR's office like a storm front rolling right through Texas, bless her heart. He's just standing there behind his desk, posture all power and polish, still riding high off that coal campaign's little miracle. And Jock, he's there too, looking mighty proud of the son who just turned mudslinging into an art form. Pam, she lights into him, just furious, calling it what it is, cruelty dressed up as politics. Jock, he barely looks fazed, just throws out a politics is politics like that makes it holy. But JR? Oh, he loves this. He's calm, almost amused, telling her she'll learn one day. When you figure out how the Ewing rules work, sweetheart, you won't use them against us. You'll use them to protect yourself and us. Han's face. Well, it says it all. Disgust, heartbreak, maybe even fear at how right he might be. She finally spits it out. Then God help me. JR, he doesn't move. He just watches her go, still standing tall, smiling like a man who knows the next round's already his. Pam, bless her heart, shows up at Cliff's place, pale and tired, with guilt just plastered all over her face, darling. Now Cliff, he looks worn, but steady, you know? Says he's doing just fine, considering the beating he's taking. She tells him it isn't fair, that this could just ruin his whole career. He tries to joke it off, says maybe his loss will save her marriage, but Pam's just too tense for small talk. She starts to speak, stumbles, then finally blurts it out. She's the one who slipped. The secret came from her. Cliff goes quiet, stunned, I tell you. Then the disbelief just turns so sharp. He says he never even suspected her, that things like that don't just slip out. Pam insists it was an accident, that she didn't even realize what she'd said until it was far too late. But Cliff isn't having it, honey. So she'd do anything for Bobby Ewing, and now she's just proving it, isn't she? Pam tries to defend herself, but he cuts her off cold, says what she did is unforgivable, and tells her to go back where she belongs, back to those vipers. She leaves in tears, knowing she just lost the one person she was still trying to save. Pam's just lying in bed, staring into the dark, mind just racing, you know? Then Bobby, bless his heart, he comes in quietly and asks what in the world happened. He heard the news on the radio. She tells him the reporters crashed rehearsal at the Texas Club, and that Cliff, oh, he was in such shock. And between her and JR, they managed to ruin a good man, didn't they? Bobby, well, he says it wasn't her or JR. No, Cliff made a mistake, and JR just exposed it. Pam sits up then, all angry and hurt, asks if he's really defending JR's tactics. Bobby says he's not defending anyone, just pointing out a political reality. You can't change the rules depending on who's bleeding. Pam, she tells him he sounds just like his father, bless his heart. Bobby softens then, says he didn't come to fight, he just wanted to check on her, to remind her he loves her. She tells him Cliff thinks she told JR deliberately, and she wanted to take a good look at what marrying into the Ewing family really means. Bobby says Cliff's just hurt, and he'll come round. Pam turns away, silent, because they both know that kind of wound, it just doesn't heal easy. Well, it's election night at South Fork, and the Ewings are in full celebration mode, darling. The room's absolutely buzzing, laughter, clinking glasses, the sweet smell of victory hanging thick in the air. JR, bless his heart, he's standing by the TV, telling everyone to hush so they can hear the results. And when the announcer calls it a Cole win, oh, JR grins ear to ear and shouts to buy a drink for everybody. He's just glowing. You know, his plan worked perfectly. Meanwhile, Pam, bless her heart, she's sitting apart from all the noise, alone in front of the TV, her face just blank. She's surrounded by all those cheers, but she's not part of them, is she? And Sue Ellen, ever so quietly, slips over, asks if she can sit. Pam says, not if she's here to gloat. Sue Ellen shakes her head, says she's just sorry the best man lost. For once, there's no bite between them, just two women on the outside looking in, you see. Across the room, Jock's toasting, Miss Ellie's smiling at the crowd, and Wade's bragging about the 14th district. And then, Bobby steps away, heads straight for Pam. He asks if she called Cliff, and she nods. Says the call didn't go well, that Cliff still thinks she sold him out. Bobby insists they go see him now. Pam hesitates, says it's not the time. But Bobby, he says it's exactly the time. And while the rest of the family celebrates their big win, the two of them just walk out, straight toward the fallout, my dears. At Cliff's campaign headquarters. Well, the party's quite over, isn't it? The noise from Cole's victory speech drifts through the TV speakers like, oh, I don't know, salt in a wound. Peter's packing up, ready to put this night behind them. He tells Cliff to call it a day. But Cliff, darling, he just stares at the screen, says he's got things to sort out. Peter tells him to do it tomorrow, offers to buy a drink. But Cliff, honey, waves him off, says he'll catch him next time. Peter reminds him he's not the first man to lose, and Cliff forces a smile, says he just doesn't like the feeling. Peter promises they'll win the next one, and heads out, leaving Cliff all alone with the echo of defeat. Oh, the drama. Moments later, Pam and Bobby just waltz right in. Pam asks if Cliff's there, and Peter, already halfway out the door, bless his heart, says he's in his office, but maybe it's not the best time. Bobby thanks him and says they'll see him anyway. Peter wishes them luck and leaves. Pam hesitates in the doorway, dreading what's waiting on the other side. Bobby takes her hand and says quietly, "Come on, honey." And together, they walk toward a confrontation neither of them really knows how to fix. Well, Cliff just sits there, you know, all alone in his office, as if the loss hasn't quite sunk in yet, darling. He's ever so quiet, deep in thought, when, oh, the door just opens, and in walk Bobby and Pam. Bobby says, "We need to talk." But Cliff, he doesn't even look up, says he's not in the mood. But Bobby, he presses on, says it's time to straighten things out. And Cliff, he just laughs. "You got your election. What more do you want?" Oh, but Pam. She steps closer, her voice low, but ever so steady. She says Bobby had nothing to do with it, that she never told JR about Penny's death, only that there'd been an engagement. JR, well, he found the rest himself, didn't he? Cliff finally meets her eyes, you see. And Bobby, he tells him his hate for those Ewings is just eating him alive. Pam, she says she loves him. And Cliff's expression, it just softens, doesn't it? He says he loves her too. For a beat, the fight, it just dies out. Bobby offers a drink, but Cliff says no. He needs time, he says. When they leave, he sits for a moment, Then, he picks up the phone. Peter, call Livingston. See if he's ready to buy the next Senate seat. Cliff hangs up, calm, so certain. Losing didn't break him, darling. It just gave him direction. First off, to everybody who's already subscribed, baby, thank you. You're the reason this drama keeps pouring. I see you liking, commenting, sipping right along with me, and I love you for it. Now for the rest of y'all just watching from the sidelines, what's the holdup? We're sitting at 29 subscribers, more than halfway to 50, and I want you in this family. Go on, hit that button. Let's make it official before JR stirs up the next mess. You bring the shade, I'll bring the bourbon. Deal?
Well, wasn't that deliciously messy? Miss Kane walked you through the drama, and trust me, the secrets are just starting to spill. But don't think it's over, darling. There's always another scandal waiting in the shadows. This has been Drama After Dark. Until next time, we'll be watching. Will you?